We're recording a little bit later in the week this week because NASCAR had a big announcement that we'll get to at the end of this video. But first up, we have the Cookout 400 post-race wrap-up from Richmond. Really just a fantastic race. I think this is the best NASCAR race that the short tracks, or at least the best NASCAR Cup Series race that the short tracks have produced this year. We had some really intriguing things going on with the tires. I think the racing was better than it has been a lot, just differing strategies. A lot to talk about. So we'll start with stage one. Ryan Preece on pole leads the field to begin this race. And the tires, as I mentioned earlier, are the story of the day. Some differing strategies from everybody. The first stage was a little bit shorter, so we saw some guys like Preece stretch it long to try to give themselves an extra set of tires later in the race. Didn't really work out for any of those guys. I think once Preece got buried back in the field because of strategy, he just wasn't as good and wasn't able to get back up front. Most did pit in stage one. Ultimately, I think that was the right call, just judging on how this worked out for everyone. But Tyler Reddick was the winner of stage one. The 2311 cars looked strong, even though they didn't get the results to show for it. More on that in stage two, where Tyler Reddick brought out the first caution of the race. Reddick just kind of a victim of circumstance here. Daniel Suarez moves Ty Gibbs to try to get by him. I believe Ty Gibbs was a lap down at the time. Ty Gibbs slides up into Reddick, and Reddick ends up in the wall, kind of ruins his night. He was not happy with Suarez. We saw a little bit of retaliation later in the race. Not quite a spin, but Reddick did not make life easy for Suarez. Caution number two, kind of a similar situation, but it was direct contact from John Hunter Nemechek into Cody Ware to create a spin. The 51 brings out the caution, and Cody Ware would also try to get revenge later in the race. Did not go well for him. But as we all know in NASCAR, cautions breed cautions. And then the third caution of stage two was the big one at Richmond. Not really sure what Kyle Busch was thinking on this move, but he really dives it down into 3 and 4 under Briscoe. The 19 ends up spinning, and a whole bunch of people are caught up in it. Chase Elliott goes to the inside to kind of sneak by, and as he's exiting off 4, Kyle Busch, recovering from the incident, gets into the right rear of Chase Elliott, sends him head on into the wall. Really hard hit for the 9. The 24 makes contact with him, but the 24 wasn't damaged too bad. Still a good run for Byron, which actually led to him clinching the regular season title. So the 24 is your regular season title winner. Really good year for that 24 team. They've been consistent. They've done great. Elliott has been consistent too. I think this is the first race of the season that was a DNF for that 9 car. So really unfortunate for him to get caught up in that incident, but that's just kind of the way it goes. Mentioned the 2311 cars having speed. Bubba Wallace is the winner of stage 2. I believe he had the fastest lap in the race as well. So just continue to have good speed for that 23 team. That's great for them heading into the playoffs. We move on to stage 3, where Austin Dillon becomes a real player in this race. As you know, Austin Dillon won this race last year in controversial circumstances, wrecking both the 22 and the 11 to win the race. Had some great speed last year. It seems like that setup worked again this year because that 3 car was very fast at Richmond. We get into the final stage and pit stops get underway. Bubba Wallace, who was having a great night, has trouble on pit road, loses his front left wheel. But he lost it before getting back on track. And funny enough, he pulls into the number 19 pit stall, and that tire just happens to roll right behind him, sits next to him. And so for the second time this season, I remember earlier at Las Vegas, the 19 team helped out Christopher Bell and tightened one of his wheels. They had to do the same thing for Bubba Wallace. So just kind of funny, the Toyota teams working together. Wallace is penalized, so he loses all of his track positions in multiple laps. ruins that night for the 23. But again, they still had the fastest lap and they still got a stage win. So all in all, not a terrible points night for that 23 team. A lot of differing strategies, guys trying to go long, guys trying to pit early and then make it up. Carson Hocevar was the only one, I think, on a 3-stop strategy in stage 3. And I was really interested to see how that played out. But unfortunately, we didn't get to see what happened with that because there were mistakes on all 3 stops. On the first green flag stop, Hocevar kind of blows by pit road, comes in a little too hot and has to stay out. The second pit stop was slow due to the pit crew, and the third pit stop was more of the same. So just a really tough night for Carson Hocevar. Again, I was interested to see how that strategy played out. Just didn't shake out that way. And then the battle for the win was between Ryan Blaney and Austin Dillon. But it was Austin Dillon who had the speed. Ryan Blaney came in later on the last stop, and I think that was a mistake just because Dillon was able to grow the lead a little bit. Blaney was a little bit quicker at the start of these tire runs, and I think going a little bit longer just hurt him in the long run. Austin Dillon gets his second straight win at Richmond, this time without controversy, and he punches his playoff ticket, putting Chris Buescher below the cut line, heading into the last race of the NASCAR regular season at Daytona, which, as we all know, watching Harrison Burton make his way into the playoffs with a win at Daytona. Anybody can win at this track, so it's going to be chaotic as multiple drivers try to find their way into NASCAR's postseason courtesy of a win at Daytona. But back to that big announcement that I teased at the start of this video. The 2026 NASCAR schedule is out. Jordan Bianchi from The Athletic had the initial news, but NASCAR has made it official. Be sure to check out Jordan's work, by the way. Him and Jeff Gluck do awesome work for The Athletic covering NASCAR. Can't recommend them enough. But I do have some thoughts on this NASCAR schedule, starting with just kind of sad to see Mexico City and the Chicago street race go. I think Chicago got mixed reviews. I don't know if the folks in the city were the biggest fans of it, but I thought it was so awesome to just see the cars ripping around that city. With that being said, Chicagoland is back, and I think this car is particularly suited for that style of track. I think we'll get some excellent racing in. I think it's the first time in 6 years, I believe, that NASCAR has gone to Chicagoland. So really excited to have that track back on the schedule for this particular car. Mexico City, I think it was an issue with the World Cup and just scheduling. Kind of just tough to make it work out with this NASCAR schedule. So I think we'll try to see NASCAR back in Mexico City at some point. Would also like to see them go to Montreal, maybe trade those 2 races off would be my pick. But we do get another street race added. So San Diego, this has already been announced, but San Diego is officially on the schedule, going to be paired up with Sonoma. So you'll have 2 road course / street course races in a row on the West Coast. Really excited to see NASCAR back in Southern California. Obviously, they haven't been there since NASCAR stopped doing the Clash at the LA Coliseum. Formerly had Auto Club Speedway out in Fontana on the schedule, but that track is now closed down. So good to see NASCAR returning to Southern California, where there are more NASCAR fans than I think some people realize. Another interesting change, Watkins Glen in May. I was kind of hoping to see Sonoma get a spring date just to see what the track looked like out there with the green grass. Obviously, it's very brown the time of year that NASCAR goes to Sonoma. But it's Watkins Glen that gets moved to a spring date. So we'll see how that goes. Interesting. I think some folks have been talking about the weather in May. It can be a little bit hard to predict in that part of New York State. We'll see how it shakes out. Maybe we get a rain race at Watkins Glen. That would be something. Another big change is North Wilkesboro moves to a points race, while Dover is the all-star race for next year. To be honest with you guys, I think this spells trouble for Dover. I don't know that this is going to help that track. There's no lights, so it's going to be a daytime all-star race. Don't love that part of it either. Yeah, I really think that North Wilkesboro having a points race is awesome, but I'm worried about the future for Dover and what this means. And then finally, we have Homestead back as the championship race, the final race of the season in 2026. Love this move. Homestead has produced consistently great racing in the next gen car. I think it's just a better fit for NASCAR as the final race than Phoenix was. I've had some fun races at Phoenix. Like I got to see Carl Edwards and Kevin Harvick battle it out there in person back in the day. But Phoenix is not known for producing the most exciting racing, especially in this next gen car. So glad to have Homestead back as the final race of the season. Those are my thoughts on the NASCAR schedule for 2026. Definitely let me know what you think in the comments. Some other interesting notes. We have Rockingham returning for Xfinity and Trucks. And Trucks, the Truck Series, will have a double header with IndyCar at St. Petersburg in the streets. So we get a Truck Series race in the streets. Definitely going to be intriguing, I think is the best word for that. But that's my thoughts on that schedule and those changes. Make sure to stay locked into Apollo for more NASCAR coverage throughout the season. And obviously, we have the last regular season race of the season coming up for 2025 at Daytona. Going to be a exciting conclusion to this NASCAR regular season. So you'll want to get back here and stay locked into Apollo for that. Until next time, we'll see you then.